Just as it began, my eyes fell on Gatsby standing alone on the marble steps and looking from one group to another with approving eyes. His tan skin was drawn attractively tight on his face, and his short hair looked as though it were trimmed every day. One would assume that Gatsby has tons of friends due to the number of guests that attend his parties. However, this is an example of how even though he has many guests at his house, he is still alone both physically and mentally. He is known to talk to at his parties because he is so consumed with trying to get Daisy back. The only reason he throws these elaborate parties is to get Daisy to come, or have a guest that knows Daisy and bring her. Even with a crowd of people at his house, Gatsby is isolated and standing alone on steps, not participating at the parties. The reason Gatsby is so isolated is because the only thing he focuses on is his love for Daisy.
When Daisy and Gatsby see each other for the first time in many years, it is very awkward at first. Daisy was drunk and Gatsby was very nervous. While Gatsby was giving Daisy a tour of the house, Daisy sees some of Gatsby's shirts. "They're such beautiful shirts," she sobbed, her voice muffled in the thick folds. "It makes me sad because I've never seen such beautiful shirts before." Even though Daisy was drunk, there is a deeper meaning to this. A main reason that Daisy did not marry Gatsby is because he was not wealthy enough for her. 5 years later, after Gatsby acquired a large sum of money, Daisy has now realized that he is good enough for her. Daisy realizes that Gatsby is good enough for her during a tour of Gatsby's house. At this moment, Daisy does not care about personality or how someone would treat her. It's all about wealth, and everyone around Daisy lets their wealth control them. Gatsby only wanted this money so he could win Daisy back.
During the scene where Tom confronts Gatsby about what's been going on with him and Daisy, Gatsby says, "She only married you because I was poor and she was tired of waiting for me." Daisy is in love with money. She's not in love with the people that Gatsby and Tom are. When Gatsby wasn't wealthy, Daisy didn't marry him because he wasn't good enough for her. Yet, while she married Tom for his money, Tom treats her badly and she isn't happy. However, she stays with him for his money. The only reason she contemplates going back to be with Gatsby is because now he is good enough for her. Daisy's decisions of who she should be with isn't about the person or what they're like. It involves what they can offer her.
A symbol we used was the eyes of Dr. T.J. Eckelberg. They are a symbol of being looked down upon by either God or a higher power. The eyes overlook the Valley of Ashes, which is a symbol for the moral decay. The characters all do things that are unmoral. Whether this is infidelity to plain lying to one another, it is immoral. However, due to the nature of the time, most characters did not stop to think of how these actions would affect them. They continued to whatever they thought would be best for their own lives without realizing that their actions have consequences. The eyes represent that their actions do have consequences. An example of a bad consequence in the novel is when Myrtle gets run over, which happened under the eyes.
Another symbol we use is Daisy wearing a green dress. Fitzgerald uses the color green over and over again in this novel. The color green represents the hope that Gatsby has for Daisy. But even something on a larger scale, it just represents hope. For Gatsby, it is the hope for Daisy. The only thing Gatsby wants in his life was to be with the girl who he thinks he is in love with. He moved across the bay just to be by her. He throws crazy parties just to see if she would come. When they finally get a chance to be with each other, he doesn't care that Daisy is married with a baby. He wanted to be with her at all costs. Not once in 5 years did Gatsby give up hope. He just wanted to be with her. The way Fitzgerald represents this is through a green light that shoots across the bay from Daisy's house to Gatsby's house. Yet this green light is more than just hope for Daisy. For Nick, it is simply hope. Nick is somewhat lost in the world that he is living in. He was living life, but he was not experiencing it. Before he leaves to move back to the Midwest, Nick realizes that the American dream really can't be accomplished. However, he sees the green light for Daisy's house and realizes that it is what Gatsby looked at, and realized that some people get really close to what their dream is.